Welcome to the Primo's Musings podcast.
Good evening. This is Shri here with a quick preview of the two divisions that we have not been able to touch for the upcoming NFL season, the AFC North and the AFC South. Let's start off with the AFC North. And the AFC North has Baltimore, Pittsburgh, uh, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. And let's start off with Cincinnati. Because Cincinnati is a team that's an up and coming team. They've always threatened the Kansas City Chiefs, but one of the downfalls for Cincinnati is their quarterback, Joe Burrow, who has been always hurt. So um, he's now healthy, and they have the wide receivers and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So they have um, a great offensive scheme, offensive system. But one of the things that they do lose on the offensive side of things is Joe Mixon. But they've lost Mixon. They've lost even like Tyler Boyd from the offensive standpoint. But they've also been able to add a little more full like Moss and Chase Brown. They replace him. So uh, let's see what the healthy Joe Burrow on the Cincinnati offense can do. Um, I don't know what to make out of this team. I know my New England Patriots do play the Cincinnati Bengals in Game One. I'm hoping that they're rusty so that our Patriots can get a win, but um, I don't think so. But because I think Joe Burrow is too good of a quarterback, um, and let's see if he can bounce back from the injury from last year. Well, one of the key questions remain. Jamar Chase was still a holdout, so that's going to be really a interesting situation. Will he even take the field on opening day? I think the coach, Zach Brown, did say that he's not too sure about this. But Zach Taylor, last year's record was 9-8. Um, I do think that with Joe Burrow back, they've added Mike Gesicki from Miami, and they've also added the expatriate Trent Brown. And they've added some good key pieces on the defensive side: Sheldon Rankins, Von Bell, safety, Chris Jenkins, another tackle. They did add another Jermaine Burton. Um, and cornerback Josh Newton. I mean, it's been in the league for a while. So, um, but they did lose a lot of players too. They did lose some offensive linemen. They did lose some defensive tackles as well. And as I said, Joe Mixon, who's been staple of the running game. So I definitely see that. And the only good thing for them is that the first three out of the four games that they do play with the first year head coach or rookie quarterback. So that gives them a little bit of a rope. I think they may win about 10 games. That's what I think. But let's see. I mean, they've got all the pieces, and hopefully, Burrow is back to his performance 2 years ago. Let's quickly go to Cleveland. Cleveland was Kevin Stefanski had the record 11-6. Um, they did add some key pieces. They did add a quarterback, James Winston, then also Tyler Huntley, some of the running backs that they added, Hines and Foreman, and they picked up Jerry Jeudy from Denver. They've shored up some of their offensive line and also their defensive line, and some linebackers in Jordan Hicks and Devin Bush. Um, I definitely think with Deshaun Watson back, he's entering his third season. Of course, they did lose like Joe Flacco, who had a good breakout here, and Kareem Hunt on the offensive line. But they still have one of the best defenses, Jim Schwartz, who coached, I believe, in Detroit and Eagles. They still have one of the top ranked defenses. Miles Garrett, 14 sacks last year, is as good as it gets. And Zadarius Smith is a great player. They do have some cornerback Denzel Ward and linebacker Jeremiah Coromo, who will be like staple of their defense. So I definitely see good things for um, Cleveland, and I think Cleveland does play Dallas Cowboys, so that's a very tough game for Dallas to start with against a quality team like that. And again, um, let's see what Judy brings to the table. Um, and I don't believe they will be 11-6 like last year. I actually see the Cleveland Browns taking a step back, um, and and I think he still has, Watson still has like some shoulder issues, and I don't know if he can compete with like Burrow and Jackson day in and day out, and they do play like a tough Division Two. So I think it's going to be interesting where the Browns finish. I think it'll be lower than last year. That's my prediction. Let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Mike Tomlin never had a losing record, 10-7 last year. Key additions for them: they shipped off their quarterback to Chicago, but they picked up Russell Wilson. Oh, I mean, they picked up Russell Wilson. They picked up the Chicago quarterback Justin Fields. They also picked up Cordell Patterson, who is a great player in like Patriots, and he played at Atlanta. So I see good things for the Pittsburgh offense. But they also picked up their defense has always been good. They picked up some good cornerbacks as well, and their defense has always been solid. Like we know that. And they did lose Kenny Pickett. That's the quarterback I was talking about, and then J. Mason Rudolph too. Um, but I feel that their defense is top notch, elite. T.J. Watt, who had 19 sacks last year, he's going to be a beast. And as I mentioned, Tomlin never had a losing record. They had George Pickens. I think he has a chance for a big breakout year. Um, they have Najee Harris as a running back and Jalen Warren, great 1-2 tandem. And then they did have they always had good tight ends and Pratt um, Fairmouth, who caught you know, I would say I would say triple digit passes in last two, 21, 20, and 21. So I see big game for them. And then they got good defensive tackle, good respected captain Cameron Hayward, great leader, six-time Pro Bowler. And they got Minka Fitzpatrick, who's been a stud for them, and Joey Porter, second-year cornerback, great talent. Um, Another Pittsburgh, the son of an ex-Pittsburgh Steeler. And their kicking game has always been solid. And I know Pittsburgh finished 10-7 last year, but I don't know what to make of Russell Wilson and whether he would be able to get them to 10. But I do trust Mike Tomlin. Tomlin will get them to 9 wins easily, but I don't see them getting to 10. Same thing. So it's Pittsburgh and Cleveland in that. I definitely see, I know Cincinnati is going to probably have a better year, and Pittsburgh and Cleveland will have not as good as the year as last year. Let's finally get to Baltimore. And this was the number one seed that had every opportunity to get to the Super Bowl, but Kansas City came to their house and beat them again. And Lamar Jackson is still a threat. He's a league MVP. Apparently, he's 10 pounds lighter. They did pick up Derrick Henry. I think Satish and I talked about that yesterday. And they go to Kansas City to the NFL opening day in a couple of days. Um, he's still a perfect running back. I mean, if he has a good running, if he's a good offensive line, he's going to be a beast. Mark Andrews is healthy. We did talk about Zay Flowers as well, who's like their number one receiver, and Isaiah Likely is quick and fast, and he's such an athletic player. Um, and they've got the great offensive line, and no doubt, and their defense looks good. I mean, they have um, corner looks good with Marlon Humphreys there. Brandon Stevens also is there. Um, and then they got Roquan Smith, who's pretty good who's like a great anchoring on the defensive side of things. And I think it's going to be a good season for Baltimore. Again, they've got one of the best kickers in the league. Justin Tucker is automatic. Harbaugh is a great coach. Um, but let's see if they can compete. Their schedule is pretty difficult, like we talked about. They do have the Chiefs, they have the Texans, they have the Eagles and the Bills. Plus their divisional opponents who are the Bengals. They have to play twice. Don't like Pittsburgh and Cleveland would give Baltimore everything to handle, especially on the road. So can they get over the hump? That's the thing. I definitely see Baltimore having a slightly lower year than last year. They last year they were 13-4. I don't see them winning 13 games. I actually see them winning like 11 games. So who wins the division? I think it's a toss-up between Cincinnati and Baltimore. A lot of questions for both the teams, but I definitely feel that Cincinnati and Baltimore are the teams to win that. So with that, we wrap up the AFC North, and I'll come back and do the AFC South in another podcast. So thanks again for listening, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you for listening. Primo will be back soon.